And I will stop sharing my screen here. There we go.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you very much. I'm wondering if I can share my screen because I do have a little deck I made. Let's see if this works. Okay, everyone see that? Hopefully, go like that. All right, excellent. Yep, we're working. Yeah, quickly, big thanks to Brian and Sam and all the BK product design crew. Brian, you and I were there, I think, for the first time around mid 2018, because it was right around the time that I just moved to New York. And to meet you all and get involved in the session and to see where it is now and where it's grown is so incredible. And there's so much more stuff coming up, I have absolutely no doubt. So thank you. I want to burn through this stuff pretty quick because if there's any time we can do some questions, but I absolutely encourage anyone to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email or anything like that, and get in touch with me anytime about more questions or more follow-up type stuff, any kind of info. Happy to help anywhere I can. I myself, I've been a recruiter for 10 years now, just working with designers. And a lot of that has really focused around product design as well, but I've definitely worked with designers of all sort of disciplines and all types. So for me, when I think about portfolios, when I am trying to present some of this material to everyone today, I guess it's coming from a recruiter perspective. I'm not a designer myself, but I've worked with some of the best designers in the game. I've worked with some amazing companies. I've partnered with them to help them hire designers. So I've invested a lot of my time and energy in understanding what goes into being a good designer and how to identify that for a company. So hopefully I can impart some of that side of the perspective for everyone today. This little presentation, the 7-second folio review, I called it that because there's all these kind of stats and studies that have been done, and essentially they have found that most hiring managers, recruiters, these people doing this first kind of round of screening, pretty much on average spend about 7 seconds looking at your work before a decision is made. So that's really not a lot of time. It doesn't get you too far. But what I found is that those 7 seconds, or that really kind of first initial impression, a decision is made quite quickly whether to leave or to stay. So it can be really similar to even landing on a website, an e-commerce site, a brand, something like that. You're making that snap decision pretty quickly. So they're not necessarily landing on your folio and saying, yes, I want to hire you within those 7 seconds, but they're deciding, yes, I want to click through more. Yes, I want to stay on this portfolio and keep exploring because I want to consider this person for the position that they may have applied to, this designer. Or they're saying, this doesn't look like the person that I need to be speaking to. I'm on to the next. So how do we keep them around longer? Let's dig into it. This is quickly what I want to run through. Why 7 seconds? Who this is for? Getting to the interview. Are they in the right place? And helping them do less work. Them being, these recruiters or design leaders that are doing the reviewing. Okay. So yeah, as I said, this is the average time spent. Looking at your work. So are you getting the most out of it? I want to try and give you some ideas to help with that. Okay. Who is this for? Active job seekers. If you are looking for a job, this will hopefully help you. If you're a designer out there looking for work, this will hopefully be helpful for you. If you're applying to any advertised positions, again, this will hopefully be for you. If you're contacting companies directly, whether they're advertising or not, but they're your dream company that you want to work for, this will hopefully help you. If you're a designer that at some point, you think that you might change jobs from your current one sometime in the rest of your life, this would also hopefully apply to you as well. So that's a pretty broad range of people. If you don't plan on ever changing jobs or you are never looking for work and never, will need a portfolio, then this is probably not for you. And then I'd be wondering why you're here anyway, but we'll keep going. So this folio, we're obviously putting a lot of weight on it right now, and we're focusing on that. But it's just important to remember, I think, that the portfolio doesn't get you the job. The portfolio gets you the interview. So the goal of the folio isn't necessarily to get you the job. It's to is to get you in the room where you're going to get the job yourself. Okay, so it's about getting over that threshold where they want to interview you, and then you're going to do the rest. It's not, you know, not going to do the whole thing for you. So now that you've gone out there and you've applied to some positions, you're a product designer. You found that on LinkedIn there is an abundance of product design roles being advertised, and you go ahead and you apply to them. You want to get yourself a look in. You're hoping you're going to hear back from them. You're hoping that you're going to get yourself an interview. So then what happens? So these are some things that I see often come up, and it's what I like to think of like, are they in the right place? So you've sent out the CV, the recruiter's received it, they've gone through to your portfolio and they've opened it up. How do they know that they're actually looking at the work of a product designer? And sometimes you need to make that really clear and really concise for the person on the other end. So clear title, and it ideally reflects the role that you've applied for. So again, product designer, they land on my landing page, it says Jared Tredly, product designer, NYC. They're like, great, okay, I'm gonna keep reading. If the first thing they saw said Jared Tredly, video editor, NYC, they're gonna think, well, hold on, I need a product designer. Why am I here? What am I looking at? And that's when you start to lose that person's interest. And they're gonna wane, they're gonna think that they're in the wrong place. And if you don't grab them in very quickly, they're on to the next thing. So it's about keeping them hooked and letting them know that they're in the right place. So that's what I'm saying. First impressions, hook them in longer than 7 seconds. Product designer, oh, and you're in the same city, and you love working on SaaS products. Oh, great! I want to read on. This is who I'm looking to hire. I need to speak to this person. The other thing, you know, any kind of personality or originality that you can show in that very first touch point. Are they excited to see your work, or have they seen it all before? So again, I think this is a labor of love, the Folio. I think that everyone, you know, it takes a lot of time and energy. If you've got that, and maybe you're not getting the results of the existing Folio that you've got, take a look at it and think, okay, yeah, I did use a very basic template. Okay, yes, I know that everyone else in my graduating class also used the same template. Okay, yeah, maybe it's not, you know, very exciting for someone to look at. You know, you're a designer. Put in some time and effort. Are there things that can be done to kind of enhance that? Again, as this recruiter, as this design leader, they land on your actual website. Are they going to be excited? Is there something that you can do to hook them in? So hopefully that helps a little there. The next thing that I like to think of is what I call like, don't make me work for it. So again, if you're applying to a position, you've gone out there, you've sent your CV, you've contacted them direct, don't make me work to see your work. If you've applied to the job and I look at your CV and there's no link to your portfolio, there's, you know, or I go to your LinkedIn because you've applied via LinkedIn, you don't have your portfolio link on your profile. Already I'm going, oh, I've got to work to actually see this. I've got to keep digging somehow. I'm trying to see this person's work, but I don't even know where it is. When I'm faced with potentially 300, 400, 500 applicants, it's really hard for me to keep working all the time for that. It's, you know, already you're like, well, maybe this person isn't right, and then I'm on to the next. So you're losing me. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about, which I think is always a contentious topic, but open to ideas on it, is passwords. And my thoughts on that is more protect your projects rather than protecting and password protecting your entire your entire website. If I receive a CV for a product design position, the CV looks great, or you know, there's enough in it to make me go, okay, this person's been a product designer. I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to look at some of their work, and that's going to tell me whether I think that I should shortlist them and have a call with them versus the other 499 people that have applied. Now, if I go to look at your work and your whole website is password protected, and I don't have enough reasons to go, oh, okay, I'm going to have to email them and then I have to wait for them to reply. I've got 499 other portfolios to look at. One of those could be even better. Already you're losing me. Now, I know a lot of designers have NDA work, or work that they can't show, and that's totally fine. Do not show that work. You don't have to. No one's asking you to do anything illegal like that, or put it out there. But what you can do is you can create a landing page about yourself. So pretty sure you as a human aren't under your own NDA, so you should be able to put that out there, and at least create that landing page. Now, just from a landing page alone, I may not be able to see your recent work because you're currently at a financial player, so you're working on internal products or something. I might not be able to see that, but what I could see is maybe a really clear, clean, well-designed landing page. Maybe I could get a hint of what some of those projects are that are under lock and key, but I kind of have an idea of maybe what you have worked on. Maybe within that landing page, I'm also seeing a bit of your personality, a bit of who you are. You're giving me a bit of a sense of what kind of designer you are and what you like. So already I'm getting the snapshot. I'm not seeing any of your work, but you're hooking me in, and I want to stay and I want to know more and I want to seek you out. I would never get access to that if I went to your website and it stopped me right there with nothing and just said password. I'm not going to see any of those things, and I very easily could overlook you, which could very much be a false negative, but it's going to happen, and I see it happen time and time again. And unfortunately, I do everything I can to try and look at every folio that's out there, but I know that the general consensus with a lot of recruiters in the industry is if they can't look and they don't see it, they're on to the next. They don't even have time. They don't even make time. They just think, oh, there's another 500 designers here. Too bad. And I think that's a bit of a shitty attitude, but it is the reality of how it is sometimes. So do yourself a favor and don't fall into that category if you don't have to. So that's my little thoughts on passwords. If you have other ideas, totally open to them. But I do think that there is a way that you can still showcase who you are. You don't have to put yourself under lock and key. Any other reasons why not to do that? I might just think you're being lazy. And then, how do I get to your stuff? Links on your CV, add to LinkedIn, things like that. And like I said, show me something, tell me a bit about your personality and stuff like that. Another little tip here, it seems simple, seems easy. UX your folio, actually make sure, is it usable? Can I navigate it? Is it converting me or is it confusing me? Make it simple to understand what it is. I can't tell you the amount of folios I land on by UX designers who are applying to a UX position where I'm looking at it and I'm sort of clicking around and I'm thinking, I don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't know what any of this is. I don't know who they are. And I don't know where I'm meant to get to from this. So you're losing me, which makes it tough. And that brings us to the end. Cheers. I think that was pretty short and sharp, but I would hope those were just some super quick key points that people can look at. They are just some really common mistakes I see. And if you are actively out there, you're applying to positions right now, I would hope that you've kind of worked on these things and you don't have to fall into those categories where you could be overlooked for the wrong reasons. So hopefully that helps. I don't know if we've got any time for questions or anything like that.
Yeah, we have about 3 or 4 minutes. So I did see some questions in the chat. So let's see if I can. Okay, so Anthony asked if you have an opinion on a PDF portfolio versus website portfolio. He's seen a few designers have really good success by making their website a read-only Google Drive link.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm all for the PDF. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it tells me who you are. If you were to say to me, look, I've only just started my job search. I haven't had time to completely build a website from scratch, or my old folio was so outdated, I wanted to scrap it and start again. In the meantime, I've put together this PDF and it's clear, it's well designed, it shows off everything I need to. It's just as good for me. I'm totally okay with that. I know I've seen other opinions where people have run into certain companies, maybe within a certain more corporate company, they can't access Google Drive links. So be aware of that with who you're sending it to, or whether they can access the, things like that. If it's, or even downloading a PDF. Some places, obviously don't let that within the firewall. Always workarounds for that. So yeah, all for PDFs.
Cool. Thanks, Jared. Another one in the chat from Amanda. Amanda has recently read that your portfolio should be personalized to every job you apply for. If you apply for many at a time, how would you do this / should you do this, especially if it's just a website and not a slide deck of case studies?
Yeah. No, I don't think it necessarily has to be personalized to every job. But what I would probably expect is that you have a particular set of skills as a designer. So, you're a product designer and you love working on more consumer-facing mobile applications. So you've probably got a portfolio that reflects some of that already and shows that off. And in turn, you're ultimately applying the positions that show that. So you probably shouldn't have to customize too much because those things should go hand in hand. So I think that, yeah, it's not personalized to every job, but it should be pretty clear who you are, what you do, and what strengths you have. And in turn, you're only going to apply to those positions, I would think.
Cool. We'll have time for one last question. So we'll take Kat's question. How can designers showcase value of service design work when it's not immediately viable during this pandemic? Or should they prioritize their digital work?
Well, I mean, service design can still be digital to an extent as well. You think about a customer journey, a service design blueprint, things like that. I see a lot of brands that when they talk about service design now, they really talk a lot about CX, and they're talking about how service goes from e-commerce all the way to an in-store experience and then back again. So, it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think that service design has really come a long way to show that. I would say that more and more brands are really excited about service design and CX in particular. And I think you can really show that in a portfolio, in a deck by, it's all about telling a little bit of a story. Where were things at when you started? What came out of maybe a discovery session? What did you ideate? How did you maybe implement that new idea? And then did that turn into, for example, a new revenue stream? So I think you can show that stuff either way.
Cool. Thanks. Thank you, Jared. That was really awesome and great questions from the audience. Maria, I'm sorry we couldn't get to your question. We just gotta move on right now. But feel free to reach out to Jared. Jared, I don't know if you're sticking around for a little bit because not everyone will be in a breakout session. So if you're not in a breakout session, feel free to stick around here. Cool. So we are about to. Let me just share my screen as we embark on our portfolio review breakout rooms. Yeah. So I'll just go through a little bit of the logistics first so that we all know what to expect. So each designer will have about 15 minutes with their lead designer to review their portfolio. Everyone in the group, so if you're a designer waiting to be reviewed, you can also go into this slide deck and you can access this slide deck from the meetup description. And there are basically these slides for every designer. So while you're in the room with the lead designer, you can copy and paste this little sticky note and put your own opinions on the person that's being reviewed. So everyone will have 15 minutes as the prime star of the show, basically. And you'll be able to kind of like critique each other's portfolios, and the lead reviewer will also, lead designer will be leading the session. So hopefully that was clear. Are there any questions?